and welcome to Millspouse Conversations, home of The Conversations, which is brought to you by our sponsor, USAA. I'm always wanting to do the commercial, USAA. And we want to thank them for helping us bring The Conversations straight to you in the comfort of your home. All right, now I have more to share about USAA here in a moment. I'm going to bring on the conversation starters because they're going to help me out. All right, are you ready? You ready, conversation starters? First up, and we do have a special guest this evening. I'm going to make you hold off on meeting him. Got it. Keep you curious. Yeah. All right, so Miss Lori, representing Air Force. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Next up, we have Miss Nashida. She is our veteran and Navy spouse. Next, we have Miss Anna. She is representing Navy as well.
Go Navy. Hey.
And last but not least, our special guest, Mr. Robert Jones.
Hello, world. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Robert.
Hey.
So let's talk a little bit about USAA. I have a question for y'all. Do you have your USAA coin? You know how in military world, you go somewhere, it's usually your spouse, and they get that little coin, right? So we're going to show off our USAA coins. I still have the USAA card, but now they have an app, right? So I think Nashida has the app. She has her phone. She has the phone there. USAA they have you covered with your insurance, banking, and investment needs. So, hey, check them out. And they have a whole section dedicated just for military. It helps you through deployments. They actually have a spouse section as well with lots of great reads. So go over and check them out. But I have a little trivia for you before we get into our topic. Do you know what year USAA was founded?
I do.
Lori knows.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else? I'm obsessed with
Wait a minute. I gotta show this comment. Old school. Yes, JJ. I am old school. Old school USAA card. So, Lori, do you know the year USAA was founded?
1922.
1922. Yes. That was a long time. Look, I'm doing the math.
That was 100 years ago.
Yeah. And I'm sad to say it wasn't Air Force people who founded it. It was the Army.
It was the Army.
It's
It was 25 Army officers who decided to insure each other's vehicles, and they started USAA. Wow. Goes to show. Could do anything. Look, Julie's like, go Army. So Julie is our Army spouse, and she's in the comments for us today. So go Army. All right, guys. So let me go ahead and introduce to you our special guest, Mr. Robert Jones. Some of y'all have asked if we are related.
Yeah.
No. I mean, hey, reality is there could be a possibility. You never know. Right? And yeah, Julie, if you have an ideal, run with it. Let me show Julie's comment up here. So, hey, military spouses, if you have an ideal, go for it. Shoot for your dreams. Just saying. All right. So I am learning how to use StreamYard, and today I'm going to share my screen. This is the first time, so please bear with me. Hey, struggle is real, y'all. The struggle is real. All right. Do y'all see it? Can you see it?
Hey, yep, I see me.
So, Mr. Robert Jones here, I'm going to remove everyone else and I'm going to have Robert tell you a little bit about himself. Go for it, Robert.
All right. Before I get started, I want to say this, Sybil. Thank you for having me tonight, and it's a pleasure to join all you ladies tonight. But I know Nashida could relate to this. Marcus and Sybil used to walk around Ikego like they was the Obamas. But I'm just like pleased to be here tonight. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida. Came to Japan in 2011 and was a youth sports manager, and enjoyed all my time over there, meeting new people and hanging out and a new experience. And look forward for the conversation tonight.
Yes, I'm really excited to be talking to you. It's been 10 years since we've seen one another. And
Yeah.
hey, yo, look, Robert used to give me a hard time in Yakuza.
You remember you walking in office with all that attitude?
There was no
Hey,
attitude. There was
you
none.
remember you coached basketball that year? What it was, your 8-year-old? I'm gonna tell y'all this story about Sybil and her basketball career. She came out there looking like Phil Jackson. High heels, jacket. She coaching 8-year-olds. And me and Marcus was standing on the sideline, and Sybil was losing like 45-3. And Marcus say, "Hey man, don't say nothing. She in the zone." I say, "Marcus, what zone she in? They losing 45-3." And Marcus, but I say this, Sybil put a lot into these girls to show them no matter what, don't give up. And she took that thing seriously. You would think Ikego was paying her $1 million to coach that team. The way she would show up, and pace the sideline, and these referees used to say, "Man, who is that lady?" And I mean, it was terrible. Wasn't it, Sheila? It was awful. No, she was a good parent, man. But the coach, you know that
I was threatened. They threatened to eject me a few times.
they sure did. And she coaching I'm remind y'all, she coaching 8, 9-year-olds who just want to snipe at the end of the game. that's all they wanted was a snipe.
They want to snack in the middle of the game. They want to snack on the court.
That was the problem. They wanted to snack in the middle. No, but hey, look, we got our butts kicked
Every game.
It was horrible, but that last game we won. You would have thought you were at a SEC college. See, I love Tennessee, so I'm just going to say that. I love my
The way she was dressed, that's why you would have thought you was, not because of the kids. Sybil coming down some high heels and a sports jacket. I mean, she was the only person in the dress. Everybody was casual but her. I thought they had an airplane out there who somebody flew them in. I don't know.
But that last time we showed up and we won.
They did.
A game.
They did.
Those girls learned. They learned.
That was my great experience with Sybil. We can move on now, Sybil.
No, wait a minute. I have to say this. And the soccer field.
Yeah.
You threatened to kick me out of many of those games because I was in the stand and Robert was the ref. And
I was the coordinator. And Sybil would want to walk the whole field while these kids trying to play soccer. And I said, "You got to go over there with the other parents." And she just didn't consider herself as a parent. She just considered herself as, "I'm going to walk this field and Robert ain't going to tell me what to do because I'm just going to do it." And like, "No, Sybil, we're not going to do that." This was an ongoing thing with me and her. But for the most part, I would say that she was a beautiful parent and a friend. You know, the way I met Sybil, she come in to the office to sign her kids up. And I think we had like a 2-hour, 3-hour conversation. I mean, Sybil can talk. I'm like, I got work to do. And this woman, she ain't had no job, nothing to do. She would come in that office like, why are you harassing me all day long? I'm like, where's your husband? Come on, oh, he out to sea. I say, I'm going out to sea in a minute. No, I love her to death, though. She was a wonderful friend.
So let me ask you this question, Robert, because you are a military spouse, and I know there's always questions about being a male spouse. So can you tell us your experience as a male military spouse?
Yeah, we got that little brown card we used to carry around, and y'all used to say, okay, I'm with y'all. I just remember that brown card. But being a military spouse, I mean, it's a little different than the female, because y'all had the bulk of watching the kids 24 hours when your husband was out to sea. My spouse, she was stationed on the base and she never went out to sea, so I didn't get that experience, but I understood the concept of what y'all was going to. My job as a youth sports director was to make it easier for you guys when they come to Japan or any deployment that they came from. So I was there just to make it a little easier for y'all.
Sorry, I'm playing with the screen, trying to flip it back. My bad, y'all. Hey, look, conversation starters. Y'all jump in there because I am back here trying to produce and interview at the same time. And the struggle is real today, y'all. It is real today. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into our topic, realities of life. Hey, yo, let's face it. Life isn't going to always be perfect. Sometimes it's just straight up, ooh, you don't really want to face life. Sometimes you don't want to face the realities. But I can tell you from personal experience, hey, look, you got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, we say we don't want to deal with certain things in life, but life isn't going to always be rainbows and unicorns. And for us as military spouses, we deal with both sides. We have that everyday life as well as that male spouse life, the things that hit us hard as military families. So I'm going to first ask you guys, what are some realities that you've had to face over the years? And these are not military specific. We're going to get to that in a minute. Just overall, what are some realities that you've had to face over the last year, 2 years?
Anybody? I'll go first.
Go. You're our guest. Go.
Oh, my reality is Nishida. When I first met Nishida, I had to get her to face reality. You remember when you came and got a job at U Sports, and you needed a car, but you and Marcus was walking. Y'all was walking everywhere, and Nishida would catch that bus everywhere. And one day I told Nishida, I said, Nishida, won't you just take my car? She said, no, I'm okay. I say, the reality, Nishida, you need a car because you just got here, and I want to be a true friend to Nishida. And give her. One day she said, okay, I'll take the car to look for a car. But that was my reality for Nishida.
I mean, we were in Japan, Robert. That's what people do in Japan. They walk and they catch the train. So maybe that was your reality, that we were in Japan.
She said, why are you throwing me under the bus?
You do. But
still.
I would say that, okay, my reality at that time was like, yeah, you do need people sometimes, I just didn't want to, accidentally tap a Japanese person and give my whole life away for the rest of my life. Because you can't get into no accidents out there and you mess around and be giving them your paycheck for the rest of your life.
Right.
Or, and I didn't have my name on the card. I just had a lot of things on my mind, Robert.
I know it.
But the reality is that you do need people sometimes. That's true.
You do.
And you were a good friend. Yes, you are.
Or
you still are.
We have a couple of comments that came in. So Julie said, living too far from family.
Yeah.
So did military life take you away from family, Julie? And Grace said, losing my mom, who was my support, and having to pick up at a new duty station and find support from scratch.
Yeah.
Yes. Losing a loved one, that's a really harsh and difficult reality to face. And finding that support. And I've had, over the last few months, I'm about to cry, Grace. I'm not going to cry.
Uh-oh.
I've had some conversations with Grace that have been very, very special conversations. And Grace, no, I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here. I'm here to support, and I'm your cheerleader in everything that you do. I'm just going to stop because I'm a cry, and I'm not going to cry.
Don't cry. My other reality is when I first got to Japan, walking outside that gate and you're in front of a whole bunch of Japanese, you in Japan because there ain't no Americans out there. You surrounded by a whole bunch of Japanese people, and you a long ways from home. And so you had to face that reality. Okay, how you going to make this work? Living in a foreign country and dealing with it. So that was a new reality to me when I first walked off the base for the first time, and I was surrounded by just Japanese people.
Yeah, I was over there in Yokosuka too, but I was there after you guys, I think. And that's where a lot of the reality slapped me in the face as well. Was I was used to always having my spouse around as support. But then once we were there, we moved there, and sorry, my dog hit my oh, sorry, my dog hit my hand and made me drop my phone. Once we moved there, it was like 30 days later, he was out on deployment. So, I had to figure out the country by myself with young kids, meeting people living on a military base, all that. So that was a huge thing for me. Was living on the military base, not having the spouse support, having no idea about anything. And it was hard, and it would get lonely, I think, because, a lot of time when the spouse is on a ship, especially, they're gone. And even when they're home, they're gone. So that loneliness and I think for me, the reality was having to make a lot of the decisions on my own without even being able to consult my spouse for whatever reason. You can't get a hold of them. You don't want to, put that stress on them, that sort of thing. So having to make a lot of decisions in the household, dealing with the kids or anything else without even contacting your spouse about it. So that was hard.
Yeah. The whole point of you guys talking about going overseas, right? That was like that was a awakening moment for me, right? Because I thought I had it all together until I did get overseas and realized I didn't have it together at all.
See, I was the opposite, Sybil.
When you saw me walking around, look, that was because that was the one thing that I had together. Everything else in my life was a little wild and free.
See, I was the opposite. I knew I didn't have it together. Then that was scary to me. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any of this together. I have no idea what's going on. And now here I am, and he's gone, and I'm here with these little kids.
What about you, Lori?
I would say just the reality of me putting my career first or making that a priority in our life has changed a lot of how we function as a family. And then, of course, he's deployed twice within the last year and a half. So then I'm like, okay, well, now I'm a single working mom, but I still love it. And then the fact that we're going to, PCS here pretty soon, I'm like, oh, no big deal. We can find out last minute. I've done it before. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute. I got to get these kids enrolled in school. Like, I got to really find a house that's close to their school so I'm not commuting all the time because I work now. So there's a lot more to think about as a parent when you PCS versus before. We've moved several times without kids, and me having to leave a job so I didn't have to work. But now that I work remotely, I get to take my job with me, and I have to factor that into the PCS. So that was kind of a reality when I was just thinking about it the other week, I was like, oh, no big deal. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Kids have to go to school. I have to work. This is not good. I need to know where we're going right now.
Yes. Yes. And Grace commented about after having her first kiddo, she realized how much solo parenting happens within military life. Yeah. It's all on you. Even when they're home, they're gone a lot. Because, yeah, I have this rule, like, nope. I'm going to make the decision, because when he's gone, I'm going to have to make the decision. Now, granted, right now, I'm like, go ask your father, because it's payback time. Go ask him. Let him make the decision. But then he still makes the wrong decision. So he's like, hey, why are you telling the kids to come ask me? Nope. Tag, you're still it.
Yeah. Another reality for me was, coaching, military kids. And you will start out with like 14 kids, but close to the end of the season, when they get deployed, you end up with like 9 kids, and 5 of them are your best kids. And the reality, these kids, not having no stability the whole season. And I wasn't used to that when I first started coaching over there in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Robert, you talking about that, that was my team, right? I had this large team at the beginning, and then by the end, I'm like, yo, wait, where are you going? No, you cannot leave. You have to stay. You have to stay here.
Right.
And they're like, no, my parents said we're moving.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, a reality for me
So
is... Go ahead, Nishita. Okay. So one of the reality that has hit me really hard in this life is, with the kids. So my oldest is a senior this year.
Wow.
And we moved her senior year of high school. And there's this reality right now that, she's leaving. Like, she is about to leave my home, and she's going off to college, and she's going to have her own life. And I'm struggling with it a little bit, y'all. Just a little bit. I am over here. Don't y'all judge me. Okay, viewers, don't judge me. But I find myself sometimes just nitpicking little things with her that will force her to have to talk to me a little bit more, which I know that is really bad. Some of y'all would be like, that is horrible parenting. But it is, I think it's my way that I'm using to protect my own feelings and the fact that she's leaving, because she reminds me every day, you do know, August, I'm going off to college. And it's like, ooh, that I'm not ready for that. Ooh, look, I just said that publicly. Don't tell anyone I said that. Don't tell her I said that. But yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for my baby, my first baby, to just really spread her wings and fly.
I remember coaching her, Sylvia. You remember I coached a softball team?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a great experience for me too. Your daughter was a great leader. She was our pitcher, and she would show up to practice like 30 minutes early every practice. And what I remember about her the most is her mannerism. She had, she was always respectful with her teammates and showed great leadership. So,
well, thank you.
That piece
that makes me feel good as a mother. But
you ain't all that bad.
But look, Robert, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell on her. So she played softball all through, from the time she started with you on up through her junior year in high school, making the varsity team as a freshman.
Wow.
This year, she said, nope, I'm not playing. I'm gonna run track. Girl, you have never run track. She's at a track meet right now.
Wow.
I'm like, girl. But anywho.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to try some new stuff. I think it's good to try different things, because it just opens you up to new experiences. So that's kind of good. She's like, well, I want to try something else, But I think one of the realities that I've faced, like within the last couple of years, is the reality based around independence. Like I've always been a really independent person. Like I just like to depend on myself. See, as Robert liked to say, like I like to depend on myself. And as far as working and stuff like that's concerned, and I think I had a real I know I had a real problem lately with just not being employed per se, like not having a job or like a way to, you know, as I would say, fund my own existence, like just to do what I want to do with my own stuff. And I know that probably sounds selfish, like because I'm supposed to be in this family unit and we're supposed to be like doing this stuff together, but there's still this part of me that's like, what are we doing for ourselves, you know? So I guess I know I had reached this point where I was just kind of really kind of rock bottomish, living through this thing, like what am I gonna do? And I was watching Tiger Woods talk to Jada Pinkett on the golf course, and he said this thing that I was like, right, because it's something I had been feeling, but I didn't want to express it because I'm supposed to be a housewife. I'm supposed to be a woman. You know, I'm supposed to be doing these fulfilling this kind of role that I never really accepted when I was a kid. You know, that was not something that I was like, oh, I want to be a caretaker or whatever. Like I was always like, no, I don't want to do that. And I found myself in that position. And he said, you know, when you're the one there, like I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he said, like, when you're the one there doing this thing, and I have things that I have started working on for myself. He's like, out on that golf course, you're out there and things happen in your life. And when you're the person at the, you know, in charge of everything, you come to the realization that nobody's going to come save you. You know, so it was like, girl, nobody's going to come pick you up. Nobody's going to come say, hey, here's the way to go. You should do this or you should do that. If you fail, you have to think to yourself, okay, what happened? Okay, what good happened? What do I take from that? You know, that's going to help me move forward, and kind of pick yourself up and dust yourself off and say, you know, thank you to the self who got me to this point, but I don't want to be that person anymore. I'm about to be somebody else, and that's okay. You know, it's okay to say, okay, this role that I was in, this person I was, that helped me get through the last decade or whatever, but I don't have to stay in that role. And that was the realization I had, was like, I could reinvent myself and not worry about what other people were going to say about it, because at the end of the day, I have to save myself. And so that was my whole thing, was like, I had never wanted anyone to save me, but I felt like, man, if I must be in this position for this long a period of time because I'm looking outside of myself for someone to come and say, hey, this is what you should do, or you're doing a great job, or, you know, but then I had to validate myself, you know, and that was a hard reality to face, because I didn't even know I had changed. I thought I was still that other person who validated herself, who got up, who did, and just to have to look in the mirror and say, man, I lost parts of myself. That was a reality that I had to face, and recently was able to overcome it. But it was a hard reality for me to face.
Yes, and I think that is something that many military spouses, or really anyone that is at home as a caregiver, faces. JJ just said his wife told him that about 10 years in, and it totally floored him. And, you know, I did the same. I had a whole conversation with Marcus it was probably about 5-6 years in. And I was like, dude, I need to do my own thing. I want to do something for me. Now, I'd always had my own career, but it was the packing up, moving. I would always get a job when we would move, but there was just something that was still missing. I didn't enjoy being at home. I love my kids, but I didn't enjoy having that full responsibility on me about the kids day in and day out. And yeah, and it's like, okay, pick yourself up, and what can you do about it now? And, you know, that's one reason that I started conversations, and love all the conversation starters who are here helping me bring these type of conversations. These are real conversations that, hey, we all need to hear and we all need to talk about, because sometimes you feel that you're the only person feeling a certain way or going through a certain thing. And so, Grace just said that you're never stuck. We are on a journey and it's up to us to dictate what it looks like. That is so very true, because we all have choices. I'm like, life is a choice. You can stay and wallow where you are, or you can decide you want to pick yourself up. And, like the song Mystical, that used to be my theme. It still is my theme song. Here I go. Whenever I feel myself getting stuck, I play it, and that's what's playing in my mind. I'm like, here I go.
But also, Silver, I can remember, leaving Japan and how safe Japan was. Like a 5-year-old can walk the streets. But then when you get back to America, I went to Walmart, left my wallet in the car and left the door unlocked. I had to realize I'm back in the States. You can't do that no more. So the reality hit me fast. Because, in Japan, you can walk in your house and leave your wallet, your keys, your doors unlocked, when we was on the base, because nobody's going to bother your stuff. But staying over there 3 years, and then you get back to the States, you had to realize, man, I'm back home. These people still.
Yes. There was no forgetting your wallet at the restaurant and going back and everything that was in your wallet still being there.
Exactly.
I never had that problem anywhere. Like, people always bring my stuff back. I'm a lucky person. Like, I have a lot of luck. People always bring my stuff back. Like, I leave my phone in the bathroom when somebody's running out. Your phone. But my husband don't have the same luck. They be getting him. I was like, oh, you got some karma. My karma is good. But it's true about leaving this. You know what I missed? I missed that train.
Yeah.
That reality of public transportation. I was like, wait a minute. But I mean, maybe New Yorkers don't. They're like, yeah, we have a subway. Like, anywhere that has a subway is probably like, what are you talking about? But in the Midwest, we don't have subways. We don't have.
No, and wait a minute. The train in Japan is nothing like the train in New York or DC. So we were living in DC before, because now we're in San Diego. But
I've never been.
Man, my husband, he would take the train to work, and he told me, hey, just take the train. You're going to DC, just take the train. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm going to take the train. Nah, that was not the same experience as in Japan. I was like, no. And Robert, you talking about the 5-year-olds? I can't tell you the number of times I would ask a little 5-year-old how to maneuver the trains in Japan.
Exactly.
Girl.
It was so nice to you. I got lost, and I think on Akibako, it was like the electronic. It's like 3 hours away from Yokosuka. And I didn't know how to get back. And this Japanese, he rode the train. He rode me all the way back. 3 hours, me and him on the train. He said, that's your stop right there. I said, who does that? Like, okay, you can't get nobody in America to do that. He said, hey, man, I'm lost.
They'll tell you your stop, but it may not be the stop that you...
Right.
There are nice people in the States. Why y'all acting like that?
Not like that. Nobody. You name one person gonna ride 3 hours with you. It's okay.
I bet there's somebody in the States right now who's like, I would do that. What's he talking about?
Oh no! If somebody rode with me 3 hours on the train in the States, I'd be like secretly with 911 on the other end.
You
like,
be scared? Oh my god! Oh my god! Now I rode the train in Italy, France, and Japan. They're all different, but they're not as nice in the other places, like as far as like the people who work there, because Europeans be like, what do you want, and hurry up and tell me. Whereas in Japan they were like, yeah, they just, even though you're getting on their nerves and they want you to leave, they'll just keep saying yeah, okay, and finally try to get you off to your destination. But I liked all of the train systems, except for Italy was just, you couldn't depend on it time-wise. Like it might be there, like Japan, those trains.
I've heard that.
Yes.
But in Italy, it might be 30 minutes late It might be 10 minutes late. They might have stopped the route. Like it was like, wow. In
don't
France, though, it was easy.
Why are you late
It was
for
pretty
work,
good.
Sybil? The train. No, Sybil. You wasn't late because of the train. You just didn't get your butt up on time. But I can blame it on the train in Italy.
Yeah, not in Japan. Sybil, you talk a lot about, on all of your platforms, you talk a lot about self-care, right? And so when you were talking about the realities as we've been chatting, I was thinking about how with the self-care, everybody was kind of talking about how you would feel kind of lost. Nishita was talking about it. Sybil, you were talking about it. And I brought it up too, you know, how you feel kind of lonely or lost as a spouse. And one of my realities was, I think, with the self-care, and for me that was kind of meant taking time for myself to just stop and think, and not have all those outside influences on me. So my reality was both the self-care aspects, which also led to a deepening in faith. So for me, that meant going deeper in my Catholic faith. I don't know what that would look like for others, but for me, that's what that meant. And so I had a long journey with that development through my military spouse life. And so I think, again, taking that time out and slowing down, and reminding yourself, as I think Nishita was talking about it before, taking that time to remind yourself you're not the only one going through it. There are other spouses, and to find those spouses. And when we lived in Japan, that's where I found those spouses was, you connect, and you connect quickly because you realize you're all going through it. So I think that's important, is to reach out, to also take that time for yourself and to develop yourself in those ways where you need it, and don't clam up. Don't don't pull yourself inside your turtle shell and hide.
Because it's so easy to do. It's so easy to do. And that's one of the reasons that I also started social hours for military spouses, right?
Yeah.
Be able to come into a safe environment. Mm-hmm. And connect with people who understand what you're going through. And, we chat, we talk about life, we talk about what we're going through, and we laugh, and sometimes we get out of pocket, but it's all in fun. We have a good time. But yeah, I mean, you have to find your people, and there's always someone out there that they may not be going through it at that very moment, but they have gone through it, or going through it, or will go through it. And so you could always find someone to connect with. And I'll just share this as a personal story with you guys of, realities. So some of you have heard me talk about it, and some of you haven't, because I haven't talked about it that much here on this platform. But that is stroke. So I had a stroke on April 17th at my husband's farewell party. Totally caught us off guard. It had, I had nothing in my medical records that indicated anything. And it actually wasn't even associated with my health nor stress. People ask me if it was stress related. No. I was born with carotid webbing here in this right carotid artery. It's not anything they check for. And I am still trying to face that reality that happened, right? Because it was something that was so unexpected. And for everyone who sees me, they're like, oh, you are back. You have bounced back. You are doing great. And I'm like, I am. But there is a reality to this that I am facing every day, and that I've really just come to terms with. So a couple of the conversation starters, they hear me talk about it all the time because, Nishita, I talk to her daily. We vox each other, as well as Julie, and they have been great support. They have been a great support system as I've really been just trying to get things together. And I had to face a reality that although I'm able to do everything that I've always done, it's just really different. It's really different for me. There are some days that are just really hard emotionally. And I think Nishita has heard me, unfortunately, she has heard me just cry, literally just sob, like just sobbing, because I refuse to really just have a conversation with my family about what was going on. Because again, they would see me as Sybil. Now, my husband and my children knew something, they see the behind the scenes, but they were also like, hey, you're just pushing on like everything is normal. But I had to come to a reality and say, hey, yo, I'm in this space and I need to reach out for help. Because not only is there the physical aspect, there's also that mental and that emotional aspect that I wasn't handling well at all. I'm still, if I'm honest with y'all, I still am not handling it well. But that's for a whole nother subject. But
Can I say this, Sybil? My biggest reality is finding out the day I found out my mom had cancer. And I had to deal with her having cancer because I never had a close member to have cancer before. And then when we found out she had stage 4, that was another reality I had to face because it was the fact that I know that she wasn't going to beat it because she was too far gone. And the day she died, that's another reality I had to face, dealing with it. And I still deal with it every day, like you. Like you say, you don't come to terms with it. You just have to deal with it one day at a time. Some days you have good days. Some days that, you have great days. Some days I just think and I'm smiling. I hear a song that my mom loved and it just bring a, smile on my face. So I just take out happy times that I had with my mom and that's how I keep going on, dealing with the fact that, because that was, my rock, my everything, but to find out, the day that I found out she had cancer, everything just like crumbled on me that day. It's like a whole bridge just done collapse. But this is one day at a time, Sybil. And like all of us here, I found out when you had that stroke, that touched me a whole lot too, because it's somebody I know. When Sheeta told me, and I was like, I'm asking her every day, how's Sybil doing? How's Sybil doing? And but then to see you come back, that just put a smile on my face. And I know you still struggle with it, but every day that I see you out here doing this, that's what made me want to come on this show with you and conversate, because a lot of people can't say they can come and conversate, but you're still here and you're still doing it and you're still crazy.
Hey, wild and free, wild and free, wild and free. And I always say that too, because I'm like, my personality was not damaged in the stroke. Right? Because you do have, there's personality changes, and I was like, that is still intact. And my husband, he told me that he knew I was going to be okay the day that he visited me in the hospital. He's like, you were a little unsteady, but when you came out the bathroom, this was like maybe day 3, day 4. He's like, you came out the bathroom, bent over, head first. You were wobbly, but you started singing, "Here I Go." He was like, I didn't understand. But as you were saying with your mom, like there's songs that bring you that, like, give you joy, and those are the things I always look for when I'm in my trenches. I'm like, okay, what brings me joy? Got to pull myself out. And I think that's very important for us when we're going through things. And Grace said, grief doesn't end. We learn how to live with it. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's true too. Because I relate to what Robert was saying. Like, I haven't had a mom since I was 2 years old. So my mom also passed away from cancer. She had breast cancer. And so when I was a teenager, a big reality I think I faced was that so my mom found out she had cancer when she was pregnant with me. So she decided to live with the cancer so I could be born. But she also in that moment made a decision that it's a 50-50 chance that she's not going to make it while I'm on this planet. So she gave up her life so I could be here.
Wow.
And right. And when I had to actually process that, I felt shattered. Like, why would you do that? Like, I could not understand like why a person would say, okay, let me bring a life into the world while I'm also not going to be here to help guide that life. But then I thought, as I got older, I felt like the reality of the situation is that when you're older, you just see life differently, right? Because you're on the other half of your life and you're thinking, I only have so many years left. But my mom was only like, she was 32 when she had me. Well, she was 30 when she had me, and she was 32 when she passed away. And like, I have a birthday coming up. And my husband was like, oh, you know, you're going to be 46. And I was like, yeah, I made it like, what's that, like a decade and a half longer than my mom lived. And I feel weird about that. You know, I feel happy. I feel like she would be happy. You know, she'd be like, okay, I made a good decision. But then at the end of the day, it's still that feeling, especially when I feel like I haven't accomplished enough or I haven't done enough, then I think, am I wasting the time that my mother gave up for me? You know what I'm saying? It just gets crazy sometimes in my head. I know that, like, inside of myself, I know that there's that what I'm thinking is not, you know, it's not based in kind of reality, but it kind of is. Because on the surface of it all, then I do have moments when I'm just like, you know, wow, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, I'm sure she just figured, well, here's a whole life that this person has ahead of them. Let me give up my life for them, you know? And um, that was a reality that I had to face somewhere in my teenage years, was like, okay, I don't have a mom. I'm not going to have a mom. And that's okay. And she made the decision she made, and that's okay too. You know, but over the years it still pops up from time to time, but it's a big reality that I think that I keep aware of and just process sometimes, that I don't know. I think I'm not explaining it well, but
No, I'm like sitting here and I'm like, this conversation, I'm trying not to cry, Kenya. I'm sorry.
Nishita, when you were talking, it was kind of making me think, you said it kind of made you feel bad sometimes thinking your mom gave up her life and maybe you hadn't done everything you're supposed to do. And it just kind of brought to my mind where that's when you need to pull back and think, well, it's not about accomplishment. It's
yeah.
about how you've affected other people's lives and how you've helped others and gotten through life. And so you're living your life, and that's what she wanted probably for you. So I would
Yeah, I
yeah,
do. I do
yeah,
think that.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah,
That's a good point you made, though. But I do pull back. Like, I pull back a
good,
lot. It could get crazy
yeah.
up in here.
I bet.
Robert
Well,
knows.
it gets crazy up in there for all of us, and so it's like I always have to remind myself, I'm not the only one, or that's why it is so important to take that time and step back and think and get away from all the crazy.
Yeah, and it reminds me of my mom because she outlived her mom. And so she'll text me all the time and be like, I'm now 10 years older than my mom was when she died. And I wish I could, we didn't have text then, but I wish I could text her this. And so she's teaching me how to really look at time more valuable. And so that's what I think you get to pass on to your kids is, this is crazy. I'm outliving the length of my mom, and she made this beautiful sacrifice for me. We really need to value life and teach others to love the time that we have and to appreciate those moments. And then, kind of laugh at some of them. Like my mom, she texted me, oh, this was like 15 years ago, but She texted me, I've officially outlived my mom one day. I can't believe it. It feels weird. And then I get a call from my brother the very next day that my mom is in the hospital. And I was like, what? And I was like, no. But she just had, it was a random thing. And then everybody just laughed at it. We're like, okay, you can't text those things anymore. You can only text positive things and share fun messages. And so it's just kind of, it's just looking at life and just being so thankful for the time that we have, and that we have people that sacrifice so much for us without even knowing why or what their real reasoning is, or to understand that love that's so deep that we get to pass on to other people. I mean, that's something really special that we get to learn how to love and how to give love from every person we come in contact with.
Mm-hmm. Y'all, I'm sorry.
Well,
This was not, no, I'm not going to
It's
say
okay.
that this was not the direction that I was thinking this conversation was going to go at all. But I love it. I do. And I'm sorry. Like, I'm the host. I'm not supposed to be getting all emotional, but this has really just touched my soul. I'm like, go ahead, Robert.
But one of the biggest realities when I was in Japan is when I had to tell you and Sybil goodbye and go back to Jacksonville, because it's hard on people when you meet somebody, because we connected right away. I connected with both of you guys right away, and the day that I had say Sybil or Ishida, I'm getting ready to go back to Jacksonville, and that time just fly by. But I thank God that we are able to still stay in contact. But it's nothing like seeing y'all every day in person, because you got to experience Sybil live. This right here ain't nothing.
Well, I'm usually not this emotional.
No, I'm talking about
this talk today has just.
She's really funny. She's really funny. She have fun all the time, and she's always happy. I mean, when I first met you, Sybil, every day you come to the office, you always happy. And that's, you got to experience a lot. Just like going to a live concert. You can hear the record, but going to the live concert, Sybil is live. She like the Gap band, Earth, Wind, and Fire, put in the one mystical. Here we go. She all that in a bag. She's worth the money, guys. I'm telling you. If y'all ever get a chance to see her in concert, she is well worth the money. Go see her.
Look, do I get to sing?
No, that's the problem. See, she never could sing, and I'm like, you need to see this live. Right? You got to see it live.
You're like, do the show, but don't let her sing.
Hey, even the dog be like, what? The dog be talking. Did you just say that? I did. The dog said, I said it.
Look, I'm gonna dry my tears, y'all, and my snot.
All right, that's
all of y'all's stories, like that just really touched me. And I wasn't thinking that this was the direction. That's the thing about the conversation, right? We don't know what direction the conversation is going to go. We come on and we stream live. Hey, this is our topic, and we just let the conversation flow from there. And don't y'all make me cry again. Don't make me cry again. But Julie said, saying goodbye to our male spouse friends is hard. It is. It's hard. Sometimes you want to say peace out to some and out the, hey, bye. But there are special ones that you don't want to say goodbye to. Hi, Grace. Thank you. Grace, she's like, you've created a safe and loving space for us, Sybil. And Grace, thank you for being a part of it. Thank you. And Julie and I have known each other. We've met online. We've been online friends for 2 years, and we finally met one another a couple of weeks ago for 15 minutes. We got to meet in person for 15 minutes. So, yeah. Okay, I'm about to cry again, y'all. So I'm going to end this episode
Okay.
because I don't want to cry anymore.
So can you tell Marcus hello for me, and Sheila tell Carlos I say hey. And I don't know y'all spouses, Laura and Anna. I don't know y'all, but tell them hello too. Tell them I made it. I'm the first one to make it. They didn't make it, so I'm lucky. They tell them. I know they jealous. I know they looking at y'all. Y'all got some explaining to do when y'all go back to y'all spouse.
You are the first male that's been on Mill Spouse Conversation.
You definitely have to come back. Yeah.
No,
Yes.
man.
Yes, without making me cry, Robert.
I know, right? I know. That's a payback. Payback is a mother. You made me cry many a day, Sybil. Just walking in there talking to me for 4 hours. I didn't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening. And hey, if you're watching this recording, leave us some comments. Let us know what your realities have been. And be sure to tune in. We're here every first and third. Ooh, y'all, my reality. I'm having a brain meltdown right now. It is shutting down. It's like about 5:45. It starts shutting down. I'm feeling it. I tried to take a nap today, y'all. I tried. Struggle is real. But we are here every first and third Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you missed the live, you can always watch the replay. We're on YouTube. You can catch it on our website and right here on Facebook and on LinkedIn too. If you're not following us on social, make sure you do. Mill Spouse Conversations. We're on all social media platforms. And we are also having a social hour every first Monday of the month. It is free. Go to our website, millspouseconversations.com. Click on tickets. Come behind the scenes. It is not streamed live, but you get to come behind the scenes and have a conversation with us. Kickstart your month with Mill Spouse Conversations. All right. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to USAA for your support of not only Mill Spouse Conversations, but of the whole military community. Thank you. Have a wonderful, fabulous, convolicious day. And I'm going to go wipe my nose and my eyes from crying. I'm going to get y'all. Good night.
Good night.